Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the 59th episode of the Stateside Report UK. I'm your host, Stateside Gab. I've got the rock today. The normal point guard is back. After the standing point guard, he did a fine job. Fine job, I give it to him. He did his thing, Coach said, come on, man, come home. We need the rock in your hands. I said, no problem. Who am I to disappoint? But it doesn't mean that I'm by myself, because as always, I'm here, Mr. OKC, Mr. Asna.
Mr. Combo God. Whenever you need me a point.
That used to be a real thing back in the day as well.
Combo God.
If he was a point, hey, I can't even say the word. That's how mad it is. If he was a combo guard back in the day, it was like, oh, this guy, he must have some,
unicorn.
Now, if you're not a combo guard, it's like,
Everyone's a combo guard now.
Yeah,
People flex 6'10" is a combo guard.
Bro, you can't not be a combo guard in this day and age. What, you can't dribble the ball and you're over 6'7"?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Something is wrong. Something is wrong.
There's no place for you in the NBA if you're not a combo guard.
You better be a big man at that point. You better,
That's what I'm saying. But like you said, obviously, two episodes when I'm running point, you got a little taste. But what did Paul Pierce say that one time about Joel?
Oh my days. You see, this is why the rock is not in your hands anymore. Because what if I don't want to taste anything? What if I don't want to taste anything?
Hey, I'm happy to be back, man. Do you know what I mean? It's always good to, whatever you need to swing the rock my way, I'm ready to shoot.
Oh, of course. It won't be our last. It won't be our last outings at point guard. Don't you worry about that, sunshine. How about we get into some of the NBA headlines that is doing the rounds at the current moment? Anthony Davis has emerged as a potential trade candidate for the Dallas Mavericks. Cade Cunningham has signed a deal to receive his own signature shoe deal with Nike, if you're an American. And Dwight Howard has been rumored to be eyeing an Orlando Magic return. It would make him the first Hall of Famer to actively play in the NBA. We're going to go through all of these stateside time, as we always do. We talked about it last week in regards to Nico Harrison lost his job. He's at the job center, fired.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, we spoke about it in last week's episode. Go listen to it if you haven't. But it's meant now that the direction that we thought the Dallas Mavericks were going to be taking, in regards to competing for a championship, maybe the development of Cooper Flag was also going to be in the mix somehow, some way. All rumors point to they might be blowing up the roster in regards to some of their, veteran guys. You think of your Klay Thompsons, you think of your Anthony Davises, who's the, headliner, you could say. Potentially Kyrie as well, once he returns from injury. These guys are all being touted in terms of, trade speculation and trade talk. And stateside Humph, now that you've seen, obviously, Nico Harrison's away, I don't believe they've brought somebody in yet to directly replace him. But in regards to all of this, reports of Anthony Davis specifically, and a lot of the other vets being touted for trade, blowing up the roster, potentially rebuilding. What is your reaction?
To be fair, I kind of err on the side of just blow everything up and start over again. Do you know what I mean? I feel like the whole Luka thing, Nico Harrison just messed up the whole thing. I can't fully put the blame on him. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, you got to look at the ownership as well, because they would have signed off on something like that when Nico brought the trade request up to them. But it just got to the point where there's a chance that you might not see Kyrie and AD fully play together. You might not see the full potential of that. Do you know what I mean? Cooper Flag as well. Obviously, you didn't like him playing at point. It looks like they've moved him away from point. They're playing him a little bit more off the ball, which you're seeing him look more comfortable.
Looking like overtime in the last game that he played, actually.
Exactly, looking like the rookie of the year that a lot of people thought, it was a banker for him to be. But with the Mavs, with everything that's gone on with the whole Luka thing, I think it might be best that you just stop delaying the inevitability and just get rid of AD and Kyrie and Klay if you can. Do you know what I mean? Because playing these guys, injury prone guys, very old guys as well. You just want to cut your losses almost. Do you know what I mean? And just see what you can building in around Cooper Flag and these young guys.
Cooper Flag, 21 points in an overtime win versus the Trailblazers. Actually played very well down the stretch, as I said earlier as well. I'd like to think that you spent so much time and effort, probably money as well, keeping or bringing a lot of these guys to Dallas, and you're yet to see how it all has come together because Kyrie's not back yet. I say, you should just ride the season out and see how it goes. If it's, the writing is on the wall, for lack of better words, okay, off-season time, you start blowing up the team a little bit and then you start trading guys away. If it was me, I would stick put with what they have because it's not a bad situation to be in, is it? If you go and rebuild, then what does that really say about what Dallas is in terms of the situation? It's not necessarily the wrong move, but you're making even more people unhappy. Let's just say it like that. If you decide, rebuild is a rebuild, that's just me, though.
They're stuck in a very awkward spot because bringing in AD, Kyrie, and all of building that specific team championship within 3 years. I mean, that's what Nico said anyway. Do you know what I mean? First of all, so it's like if you've got rid of Luca and you're telling the Dallas fans we're bringing in Anthony Davis to pair with Kyrie, Clay, and the rest, championship within 3 years, and you've got rid of Nico Harrison. So now you're saying it's not championship for 3 years. Do you know what I mean? Because when you look at the construction of the Western Conference, where the hell do you put the Mavs? Because you can't just fluke your way into the playoffs. You have to earn your way into the playoffs. It's not like the East, where you can even just about have a winning record or a losing record and
Losing
still
record and not
somehow.
playing. Yeah,
That's what I'm trying to say. But in the West, it's not going to happen. And obviously with the Mavs, I'm just more so disappointed for the Mavs fans. Do you know what I mean? I can't imagine being a Mavs fan, having Luca on my team and then taken away from me. What?
word. I didn't even get to say. You didn't even ask me.
That's what I'm trying
Terrible.
to say. But then when you look at Luca's performances in OKC, you're like, was Nico wrong?
Okay.
It
The
just
Cade Cunningham and see, this is what he tries to do, ladies and gentlemen. He tries to sneak in OKC. I don't have
I'm
it. We'll
just
talk about
asking
them
questions.
another
Was
time.
Nico really wrong?
Cade Cunningham has decided to sign re-up his shoe deal with Nike. 6 years, if I'm not mistaken, if I read it correctly, and he is now signed a deal to actually, introduce his own signature shoe. And Stateside Humph, I'll give you this little fact of the day, little stat of the day. There are now 6 players under the Nike umbrella, including Cade Cunningham, who have a signature shoe: LeBron James, Kevin Durant, John Morant, Devin Booker, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I would like to think that, we've had the conversation last week in last week's episode in regards to, superstar status. Is he still in that conversation? However, in Cade Cunningham's case, when you see he's being, looked at by his shoe brand, by his own, sponsor, in regards to, we think you're at this level in the sense of, we see the play, we see what you're doing, you can only rise and we can market off you. So let's give you your own shoe. And it's just kind of screaming home what I was saying last week. We're seeing top 5 point guard. We're seeing potentially superstar, according to the words of Gilbert Arenas, by the way, as well. Carmelo Anthony's a big fan of him as well. Is Cade Cunningham starting to come into the forefront and in the fold of, mainstream NBA players? I guess what I'm trying to ask you is he taking the leap into superstardom?
I mean, I think he is. I think he is because when you see players either re-signing or signing for a shoe deal and stuff, you can just tell that, especially with a big organization like Nike or
The big
Nike.
one as well.
Exactly. You can tell it's all part of the steps of the ascension to being a superstar in the league. His on ball or on court play as well reflects that. So then obviously when you see that he is signing with Nike, that it's all part of the steps. You know what I mean? You just hope you don't go the jar route. No offense, but
Don't
and
beat your pistols at home.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. I like Jar. I like Jar, but and I like Cade as well. I like how he's progressing as a player. I like how he carries himself. How he leads this young Pistons team. So, you know, he the way he's playing and the way he's got the Pistons winning, you can tell that he's got more fans. He's got more people supporting the Pistons. I mean, he's got more people on board with the Pistons, and obviously, if the shoe looks good, people are more inclined to buy it as well. Do you know what I mean?
For sure, for sure. Not to say that I told you so a year ago, but yeah, no, I'm just saying I saw it
Ah,
coming, seen it
hey,
coming, as Rod
you
Wave
did,
once
you
said.
did, you
Yeah,
did.
no. Steph Curry also, by the way, renounced his relationship association with Under Armour, which very so much surprised me. I thought he signed a lifetime deal with
Same.
them, man, and that was an extremely surprising thing. I think from all I read was he was unhappy in regards to how well Under Armour was selling some of his shoes. Some of them were okay, but others of them were complete disasters in terms of like the profitability graphs and all those kind of things. Who knows what he's going to do? I saw him wearing some Kobe's in the last game that I played. I think
It
it's
looked
against.
weird seeing him in Kobe's.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? So let's see in regards to Steph Curry and his shoe deal situation because that's hot property right there. I like to think
Facts,
he's going to
facts.
if he was just going to wear Kobe's, but who knows? And lastly, interesting one. Dwight Howard, NBA return, and it's not the first time that he's been quite vocal on it. A lot of people have been quite vocal on people like him. I know Isaiah Thomas. I know my center DeMarcus Cousins, the best one to ever pick up a basketball, by the way. They've been very vocal on their not being them kind of players who have the ability to still make impact and still play in the league. For whatever reason, political reasons more than likely, being the case, they're just not in the league. And Dwight Howard is a very interesting one just because Stateside Hunt for me and you talked last week. Last week was a good episode. Go listen to it if you haven't. About the Orlando Magic. They weren't playing well. Paolo's doing this and that. Wendell, up and down. He's not really a good rebounder as well. This is all hypotheticals and this could be very much rumor mill stuff. But if Dwight Howard found his way back into the NBA and specifically with the Orlando Magic where it all started. Remember I said at the beginning of the year, this is a year of reunions. How would you feel?
I don't know, man. What did them girls say after they get broken up with? They're an ex for a reason. You know what I mean?
Ah,
You never go back to your ex.
ah.
You know what I mean?
Well, Dwight
I,
went back to the Lakers.
who did?
Dwight, he won a ring with them, man. And it was all right. They didn't
That
want him
was
back the third
it's not,
time, but
that's not different. But when you say Dwight Howard, you think of the Orlando Magic. I mean, he has no business playing for that team. They need shooters, not Dwight. You know what I mean? They need shooters. I mean, it's cute. Look at what Chris Paul's doing back in LA at the Clippers. That's what I'm saying. You don't go back to your ex, man. You move on. You move on. To be fair, I think Dwight is still good enough to be playing the league right now.
I
That's
agree.
one thing, though. I'm not that. That's one thing I can say anyway. Do you know what I mean? How he hasn't got a team in the league. So I'm saying you've got Luke Cornets and all of these lot running around. But shout out Luke Cornet, man. You know what I mean?
He's
But
solid big backup.
he
Shout out
he is
Luke
solid.
Cornett, man.
I mean, there's a lot of steady eddies like Jakob Pertles and all of these. They're doing well. If they've got contracts in the NBA, Dwight Howard should be having one as well. Do you know what I mean?
I have
And
to.
he's still a good age to be playing basketball. I think.
Mate. There's 40-year-olds in the NBA, and to be fair,
Facts.
there's been 40-year-olds in the NBA. I remember PJ Tucker played for a long time.
He did.
Udonis Haslem played until he was like 67.
No,
Uh,
when we say played,
uh,
I
you
mean,
know,
when
uh,
we say played, I mean,
I bet Vince Carter played in the NBA for an extremely long time
facts.
and actually played as well.
True.
Played for my
I,
Sacramento
I think
Kings
I
for
think
a
Dwight
time.
Howard. I mean, he always keeps his body in good shape anyway. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
I think he still deserves a spot on a team, not the Orlando Magic. So I don't think there's any true value he can provide that team when they need shooting badly. That's just not his game.
Fair enough. Maybe they should call Kyle Korver or something, see what he's doing these days.
I don't even know
Maybe.
what he's doing these
I
days.
have no idea. I think he works somewhere. I think he works for a college, funny enough. I could be completely
Oh,
wrong, but I
mm.
think so. I think so. Funny enough, actually, you just reminded me of something else, which we'll touch on extremely quickly before we get into our Western Conference breakdown. JJ Redick, we're getting disrespected. Aye.
What a podcaster!
The podcaster. Mr. Old Man in the Free. Nah, it's not Stateside Hub.
You hate to
Me and
see
you were
it.
talking. We were doing our little pre-show meeting, and we were talking, and you brought it up in regards to what Chris Finch had said. I think he was a little bit comfortable when he was talking, and he was trying to make it a joke. However, where there's truth to every joke, that's what they say, right? And there is an element of JJ Redick. You have no real head coaching experience. I understand what you did for the Lakers last year and getting them into the playoffs. I understand what you're doing for them this year and how well the likes of Luka and Reeves are playing. But we don't believe in them because you are in charge. You are just a podcaster for real. Stateside Humph. Does Chris Finch have a leg to stand on, or should he, as I said to Trae Young a few weeks ago, shut your mouth?
I mean the latter. Do you know what I mean? Like you actually said it as well. These podcasts they get you comfortable. Do you know what I mean? They get you comfortable. It's like you get to a point where you almost forget that everything's being recorded. Do you know what I mean? And then you say something, you're like, "Oof, maybe I shouldn't have said that." You might go back home, you're like, "Maybe I shouldn't have said that." But like you said, every joke has a truth in it somehow. And I'm sure Coach Finch would have been a little bit salty as well because if I'm not wrong, JJ Redick and the Lakers beat him either on in his first ever game or one of his first games as well. So they're probably thinking, "Oh, you have to have some sort of like some sort of badge," or they just feel like that Laker job, which obviously is held at a very high esteem, that it just fell on his lap because LeBron got on his podcast once or twice. I mean, and got him that job. So maybe he's looking at it from the lens of like he's a bit jealous.
Mm.
But it's just when you're comfortable in certain settings, you might say things you're like, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that," but it's said. You know what I mean? And we can see the truth in that joke as well.
Yeah, of course. I think anybody, anywhere from Antarctica, you can see where they're coming from. Um,
Facts.
we'll dive in though to our Western Conference conversation, our Western Conference breakdown, and there's a few teams in here, stateside times, that I wanted to bring to you. One of them being the Denver Nuggets, and I've been seeing a lot of them on my timeline as I go through the socials. Unfortunately, they're too late, so I haven't watched too many of their games per se.
Mhm.
However, from what everybody's saying, and I'm even going to start my, I can't even call it a soliloquy because it's done now, but I'm going to ask you a question now, stateside Humph. Are the Denver Nuggets, the Oklahoma City Thunder's closest competition when it comes to you guys trying to retain your championship, you guys trying to go far in the West, maybe meeting somebody in the Western Conference Finals this year? Are the Denver Nuggets for real this year?
I mean, they're for real because they've got, and I kind of have a bad taste in my mouth when I say they've got the best player in the league. I mean, and it's like that's really the only way I feel like you can really get close to this OKC team by either having a ridiculously deep team like the Pacers had that play really good basketball, offense and defense, or just have the best player on your team and have like serviceable pieces around them. With the acquisitions that they had in Denver, with Tim Hardaway Jr., obviously you brought back Jamal Murray, Christian Bronze there. Bruce Brown's come back as well. I mean, they look good. I mean, they're very dominant, but this really has a lot to do with Jokic and the level of basketball that he's playing now. I mean, 55 points against the Clippers, the most efficient 55 points ever. I think he shot like 70 something percent, which is insane. I mean, the guy's barely missing. Every time he touches the paint, that's an automatic floater. It's just the level that he plays at, and if he's got serviceable pieces around him, that just makes the Nuggets a much much harder team to beat. When you've brought in Valanciunas as well, I mean you're still keeping the scoreboard ticking when Jokic's on the bench, which is something that they haven't had for a long time. So you can see that they figured out exactly what they need to do to make this Nuggets team or to reach the potential of this Nuggets team. You know what I mean? And then obviously OKC playing at the level that they're playing. I'd say the Nuggets. I'll say the Nuggets are the closest team to the OKC Thunder in the West anyway.
It's interesting as well, just because I watched the breakdown a little bit before we started recording. Actually, I can't remember who it was. It was a beat. I think it was from a beat writer from the Nugget side of things, and he broke down obviously how offensively they're going to always stay ticking just because of Jokic's ability to breathe. But I was looking at a breakdown of their defense, and it's like you compare it to what it was last year, where the roster was a little bit funky. There wasn't a lot of space offensively to work with, and defensively, they were kind of just a middle of the pack kind of
Mhm.
team. Whereas this year, they seem a lot more involved defensively, and so does Jokic as well. I have to give him a lot of credit in the breakdowns that I was seeing as well. They rotate very efficiently. A lot of their guys, in regards to the guys that they've drafted, have taken steps as well. You think of your Peyton Watsons and you think of their Browns. They've become either point of attack kind of defenders or general wing stoppers that you can just throw on anybody, it feels like, and they're competent enough to get stops now as well. So you add in the fact that Jokic is maybe the best player in the world, probably to most people's eyes. You add in the fact that they're making this leap defensively. Uh, you have to say, I like other teams in the West, but at least in regards to OKC and the Denver Nuggets, those two, it feels like, are sitting at one table and everybody else is just dotted around the room somewhere else. am I in the same ballpark as you right now in regards to them being like here? Or would you still put, OKC? No. We're still at least a couple levels above these guys.
I'd say OKC are a couple levels above the Nuggets because OKC are touted to try and win 70 games. The Nuggets 55 maybe. Do you know what I mean? There is still levels to it in terms of team success. It, in the win column. I mean, we've won 50, I think it was like 54 games in 2023, 24. Won 68 last season, and we're tied to go 70 wins. And obviously, just run off with a championship last season as well. So the levels that OKC are playing at and are expected to be at is nowhere near the Nuggets. But in terms of a playoff matchup, that's just 7 games. Um, Styles make fights, and obviously, as everyone keeps referencing, the Nuggets took OKC to 7 games. I'm just saying we took them to 7 and beat them in 7. You know what I mean? If we really wanted to finish this in 5, we would have. But we took them to 7 in front of the whole TV. We've done it for the storyline, for the plot, as they say. You know what I mean?
What are you saying? Done it for Netflix.
We've done it for Netflix. You know what I mean? Exactly. If you're
I
putting a
just
show on
finished watching that
Netflix,
starting five. I just finished watching it. It was really good. It was very good.
how did it end? Did you like the ending?
Oh, yeah,
Was
no.
it a magical
No, I didn't like
ending?
the ending. I saw Tyrese get hurt, and I was like, damn. I switched off after that. I was like,
Ah,
yes,
I
right.
mean, there's more to it. You got to skip towards the end.
No,
You know
no,
what I
no.
mean?
I don't
Who
need to
doesn't
see
like
it.
who doesn't like a happy ending, eh?
Nah, it
Wait,
was good. It
I
was good.
was,
It was. It was.
I
It
was just
was. It was
saying,
good.
bro. When you have the best player in Jokic, you have a puncher's chance, and it's not like a Giannis situation. Like they've actually, the Nuggets have actually got a decent team in and around the best player in the league. So that combination just makes them a very, very dangerous team. You know what I mean? They're just very awkward to play against. I don't want to play. I don't want to play Jokic. Not even the Nuggets. Jokic is one player I don't want to play anymore. Do you know what I mean? Because certain players, when you have your Ants and and your Lucas and stuff like that, you can almost kind of maneuver around it. You've seen that before.
Mm.
But someone dominating from the center position and running off screens, and you're seeing your big trying to navigate screens, bro. It's a sorry watch. That's why you have to mix it up a bit and then put Caruso on Jokic so you kind of stun what he's used to seeing a bit. Do you know what I mean? But if you don't have the personnel, you're getting cooked every time. But
No,
answer to
yeah.
your question, yeah, I'll say the Nuggets are definitely the biggest threat to OKC and what we want to do.
OKC 13-1 at the time of recording. Denver Nuggets 10-2. So just a game behind or 2 games behind if you want to be
Couple.
very particular. Not losing too many games and winning a whole lot. So we'll see. We'll find out. The Lakers, by the way, have the same amount of wins as the Nuggets. More losses, but just saying, throw that in there for the Lakers fans out there that are listening. Speaking of LA, funny enough as well, I need to talk to you about the Clippers, stateside dump, but not
Oh yeah.
not in the way that you think. Not in the way that you think, because if I look at the standards one more time, Clippers are down there. 4-9, 11th,
Oh,
just outside of the playing
yeah.
spots. At the
Behind
time,
Utah, by the way.
the, mhm, you know what I mean. We'll talk about them actually, funny enough, because they'll be coming up in one of our games. That'll be coming up, but. Clippers is up, down, mainly down. Bradley Beal is out from what it looks like the season as well, which is
Yeah, it's
a
out
bit
for
of
the season.
a shame because I'd like to think it would have been an interesting situation for Bill. He has to prove a lot of people wrong because it wasn't going well in Phoenix. You know the story. But I need to ask you a very pressing question, Stateside Tough. And some of it has come from a bit of the starting five that I just watched. Some of it has come from just thinking about the Clippers in the last few years. Whose team is this? Now, I want you to think about it before you answer, because naturally, and you might still think it is Kawhi Leonard. However, I do need to bring your attention. In all those games that Kawhi Leonard was missing, do you know who was there? Who was front and present for the Clippers? It was James Harden. You know who was dragging them to the playoffs season after season, getting them high seeding, by the way? It was James Harden. Do you know who's leading the team in scoring right now? Who's leading the team in assists right now? It's James Harden. And you know who's played every single game, or barring one? And who's played only 6? Kawhi Leonard's played only 6. James Harden's played double the games that he's played. So when you think about it, stateside tough. I know the aura. I know the championships and the experience that a Kawhi Leonard may have. However, when I think of James Harden as the image of consistency for a very long time, whether it was Houston, whether it was Brooklyn, whether it was, with the Clippers now, for the last few years, he's been 25, 10 assists. We go into the playoffs, no problem. When we get to the playoffs, different story. However, when you think about the Clippers these days, whose team is it?
It's definitely James Harden's team. It's actually something. I was meaning to talk to you about today, because like his consistency every time he shows up every time, and Harden always has this reputation of his weight issues and stuff like that, but he's always there on the court. I mean, he's always playing. It kind of, even yesterday's performance against Boston kind of encapsulates that. The guy had, I think, like close to like 11 points in 11 seconds or something. Like they were chasing the game, and he even had a chance on at the buzzer to take it to overtime. And it was a ridiculous play that he just missed. But it's just he's always dragging this Clipper team. Since he stepped foot in the league, he has not missed the playoffs. Do you know what I mean? And as a Clipper team that always want to stay relevant, and obviously Steve Ballmer that has put a lot into this Clipper team. If Harden is there every single time and taking this team to the playoffs every single year, you got to say that's Harden's team. Do you know what I mean? When he's the one, like you mentioned, he holds down the fort, keeps them above water the best he can with what he has, and then obviously when Kawhi comes, he's then expected to take him to the next level. But at this stage of his career, he doesn't have the capabilities to take this Clipper team to the next level, because that's what he was meant to do when they played the Nuggets last year. But then in Game 7, they get blown out when Kawhi was playing. Kawhi was on the team. But when Kawhi has a little 25-point performance, they start putting him in KD conversations. He's never been in KD conversations, by the way. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, answer to your question, it's definitely James Harden's team, just solely of the fact that he always turns up, he's always there. He leads them in points and assists. Do you know what I mean? He dictates everything. Everything goes through James, and he always has them as a winning team. Like I said, if you don't miss the playoffs, naturally that's obviously going to affect the team that you're playing on. And the Clippers team that always want to stay relevant, always want to stay as close to this Lakers team as possible. You got to shout out James Harden and what he does for him.
Absolutely. I think I need to go back to something that you said. But in regards to James Harden and the Clippers, washed is a word that's thrown around for a lot of, players when they hit the ages of 32, 33, 34. I want to say Harden's probably even above that. I want to say he's 35.
Yeah, Harden's around KD and them lot's age, 35.
You see. So it's very easy to just throw the word washed around just because you don't see MVP James Harden anymore. He's not that guy. He's not the same anymore. I think people need to pay a little bit more attention in regards to what James Harden has been doing over the last few years, always continuing to do this year as well. I understand what the standings say. I understand that, there's better teams in the West. I still expect the Clippers to make the playoffs, Kawhi Leonard or not, because they have James Harden, because he's walking 25 and 10, because he affects the game in so many aspects and does a lot for his teammates around him, more than Kawhi Leonard does, might I say. So I'm a believer, just like you, that really and truly this should be looked at as James Harden's team. And this Kawhi, I understand what he came with, the bravado that he claimed with the Clippers and Paul George and all those years ago. That's dead. That's done. That's finished, because he's not on the court enough to show it. This is James Harden's team. You should move on. Going back to what you said, yes, Kawhi was once probably exceeded Kevin Durant, and you don't like it. I know you don't, but not my problem, Stateside Humph. Kawhi Leonard was him at one point in life. Kawhi Leonard has the same amount of rings, same amount of finals MVPs that probably hold more weight than your GOAT, Kevin Durant. I'm just saying.
Impossible.
I'm just
But I
saying.
mean, if you want to shadow LeBron around and get a little finals MVP for what holding him to 30 points, sure. We can do that. I mean, I can do that.
He didn't buy it. He didn't buy them. He didn't buy the finals MVP.
It's a young pup at the Spurs, man. You know what I mean? They gave him a little pity finals MVP. So if you want to count that as well, sure. If you want to compare that to KD averaging 35 points in the finals, apparently that's comparable. But I'm just saying, bro, Kawhi, I rate Kawhi highly. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying his body's let him down a lot. To be fair, because when he came in 2019, remember there was the whole New Balance advert King of LA sort of thing with the obviously trying to kind of the whole because LeBron got to LA around that time as well.
Yeah, I remember.
Exactly. But obviously things just did not turn out that way. LeBron won a ring the next year. PG and Kawhi blew a 3-1 lead. Do you know what I mean? So things literally from then on just flipped on his head. Yeah. And yeah, since James has come to LA, he's just changed the fortunes of the Clippers, made him consistent. I mean, because his play is always consistent in that sense. So I mean, I just checked now as well. James, he's 36. So if you want to get someone else to try and help him out, they'll have to do that because I think this whole Kawhi experiment again, it's another delayed inevitability. Teams in the NBA like to do that when they can see the writing on the wall, but they still choose to ignore it.
Well, again, I'll have something for you a little bit later today sometime. But before we get there, the Pelicans, me and you have been very vocal in regards to what a dumpster fire this franchise has been. Funny enough, yesterday on this day on the Stateside Report TikTok channel, I got a throwback video of us talking about Zion Williamson, and tell me why the conversation that we had a year ago to the day is the same conversation that we're having today. Zion disappointing. Pelicans not helping themselves. Dumpster fire, horrible situation for everybody involved. They fired their coach Willie Green, and he was there for a few years. However, a lot of things were said about him. I remember when he came into the job, and there was a lot of ex-players that vouched for him and vouched for how he was in the league as a a tough guy, gritty role player, smart guy as well. He has a lot to imprint on what was a young Pelicans team. Didn't imprint much, did he? Because he didn't put a lot of success on the board. There's a reason they obviously got him out of there because they thought, well, you're not really helping the situation. Off you go, see you later. Do you know who's the leading candidate for the head coaching role? Stateside Humph.
I remember you told me this. You told me this before we recorded. The one and only,
Ah,
Mr.
Da-
Handsome Pocket
Datavius.
Hamilton.
Hamilton. Darvin Ham.
Bro, is he still in the Bucks? He's still
Still on
one
the
of the Bucks.
Bucks. I thought he's a podcaster now as well, by the way.
Who isn't?
Shout out to
Huh?
the Hoop Genius. But
I mean, who
I
isn't?
thought he turned into one.
Facts.
Hey,
Facts.
I think it was a one-off appearance. I think it was. Did well on that podcast as well. I listened to it a little bit. He did very well. However, stateside dump. Darvin Hamilton aside, what kind of? You don't even have to give me a name. You can if you like. But with the Pelicans and their coaching, situation, what do you think they should be looking for? Because I've seen that James Borrego, who was with the Hornets a few years ago, if you remember him, he's going to be in charge for now because he was an assistant over there. Do you think they should be bringing in somebody that is a little bit more focused on player development, rebuild kind of coach, or should they be bringing in somebody that's a little bit more experienced, maybe has been around the league a little bit, and that can maybe light a fire in these guys to be like, you know what, lads, we've got a team here. I know the standards say something, but we can do something. If you lot buckle down, lock in, listen to me, and I will take you somewhere, i.e. the playoffs. Do you think they need to get that more experienced head, that figurehead, to actually spur these guys on? Or younger coach, maybe somebody that's a little bit more rebuild style kind of guy? Which side of the fence are you sitting on in regards to what they should be looking for as head coach?
The latter. It has to be the latter because, again, another team where the writing's on the wall. Do you know what I mean? They're delaying the inevitability because with Zion, you're always going to have the injury issues. You're always going to have the good play for the past for a game or two. And then Zion's picked up a niggling injury, he's picked up a hamstring injury, picked up a low foot injury or whatever. And then, he misses a lot of time and then they go on a 5 game losing streak. And then Zion comes back, we win a game or two, he has a breakaway dunk and it's on all over Sports Center. It's it's a never ending cycle that I think they just need to free these Pelicans fans from. Do you know what I mean? Because they're going nowhere fast. Because they're one team that actually I was like they could do something. Do you know what I mean? Zion's back, he's in great shape. I mean they finally got their team back as one. They've got Trey Murphy there, they've got Alvarado, they've got a good young core that are hungry. Do you know what I mean? They want to prove people wrong, but unfortunately we're all, proven right, I guess, because I just don't like how things have gone in New Orleans. That was actually one thing that I'm like, if they start the season very very poorly, which they have, blow everything up, just start over again. But then with Zion's niggling injuries, like I keep saying, who wants to take that? Who wants to take that on? Do you know what I mean? Because I think the era with Zion in New Orleans is over, or it should be anyway.
Yeah, my mic, of course, terrible. But you think that this is going nowhere fast in regards to we've spoken about it a few times, but in regards to actually trading away Zion Williamson.
Because I look at Zion, I'm like, is this guy a generational talent? And how much, and if he is, how much of that can that help change the fortunes of a franchise like the Pelicans? Is Zion all to blame? Do you have to? Are we blaming the front office as well? Like, who's actually to blame with what's going on in New Orleans? Because when you look at the team on paper, it should not be whatever their record is right now. They should not be rock bottom in the West. It shouldn't happen, but they are. Like we said, the West is unforgiving. If you don't run your franchise properly, you could end up rock bottom 2-11 like the Pelicans on a 5-game losing streak. But that's what I'm trying to say. This season they really put a lot of stock in Zion staying healthy and staying on the court. But that's a heavy stock to invest in. Pardon the
Fair enough.
pun. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It's just
Heavy, heavy,
it's
heavy is the head, as they say.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah.
it's just his injury issues are unfortunately I don't think it's gonna leave him.
Mm.
And that's just gonna directly hurt the Pelicans.
Ah, shame. Well, let's see what they do in regards to head coach. Let's see if Dartavius Hamilton will be in the head coaching seat, hands in his pockets one more time.
Hey, he took the Lakers to the conference finals now, so let's not do all of that now.
And lost
Yeah, I
his job.
mean,
This world is crazy. This world is crazy. Stateside Hump, shall we play a game?
let's play a game. Let's do it.
Now, a bit early for a bit of trade machine. Usually we save this as a last game, but I have a new game that I want to try a little bit later, so stick with that one. It will come later. We're doing trade machine right now. You've done trade machine before. I'm going to throw you some trade scenarios. They're not real. They're not, about to happen. Unless maybe I can see the future. I don't know. But Stateside Tough, I'm going to give you these scenarios, and you just have to tell me if you're the GM for a certain franchise, would you pull the trigger on these moves? Can you do that for me? Can you do that for the people?
Let's do it.
Well, Stateside Town. Unfortunately, we have to start with these Dallas Mavericks. They cannot be left alone, and they won't be left alone until the remainder of the season. And it is pertaining Anthony Davis. If you were the GM for the Dallas Mavericks, would you trade Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, and Dwight Powell for Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett, Ochai Abaji, and 2 first-round picks?
If I was the Mavs, I would, but if I'm Toronto, I won't. Because remember, I said I like what's going on in Toronto.
Mm,
So if I'm Toronto and I'm seeing the pieces that we've got, and we're finally setting a culture, and we're coming back to, good winning basketball in the East,
relevancy.
relevancy. I'm looking at it like, thank you, but no thank you. Do you know what I mean? If I'm the Mavs, 100%, if that offer's on the table, I'm taking it. Do you know what I mean? You have to get rid of Klay Thompson, get rid of AD, two very very old players in basketball terms, very injury prone guys that wouldn't. I mean, yeah. If I'm the Mavs, I'm taking it. But if I'm the Raptors, absolutely not, no chance.
Fair play, fair play. This one will have to wait until a little bit closer to the trade deadline, so not yet. But if you were the GM for the Golden State Warriors, would you trade Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, Buddy Hield, Brandon Pojemski, 2 first-round picks for Larry Markkinen and Bryce Sensabaugh?
Name me the picks again. You said Kaminga.
Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, Buddy Hield, and Brandon Pojemski.
Yeah, do it. I'll do it,
It's a lot of depth now.
bro. Marketing dropped another 47 last night. I know it's a double overtime, but 47 is 47, whichever way you slice it.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's one person that he needs to come. He needs to get out of Utah, and Kaminga needs to get the hell out of Golden State. You know what I mean? They got battered by OKC
Mm.
in Oklahoma, and then you're seeing Draymond and these lot picking on, well, being passive aggressive. I mean, saying that certain players are playing for themselves and this and that. Don't get me wrong,
Jimmy
Kaminga.
Butler saying something like that a few weeks ago.
Butler, exactly. Don't get me wrong, Kaminga was a turnover machine in OKC, but who isn't? You know what I mean? But then it's like every single talk, when even if it's not about Kaminga, it almost sounds like it's about Kaminga. You know what I mean? So then it's like, bro, if I'm Kaminga, I don't think he should. I don't think he should have signed that contract with Golden State. He should have just left. I think he should have just left. So if I'm the Warriors, I'm taking it. I'm letting go of some of those pieces and getting Larry Markkinen, someone that, like I said, he's almost playing like he has a chip on his shoulder. He's got to that point in his career where he needs to start winning. You know what I mean? And being in Utah is just not going to help with that. So if you have the chance to play with Curry and Draymond and Jimmy Butler, I'm taking that.
A few more trades for you here, matey. If you were the GM for the For the Minnesota Timberwolves, would you trade Rudy Gobert, Dante DiVincenzo, Mike Conley, Rob Dillingham, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks for Ja Morant and Contavious Caldwell-Pope?
No.
Why so quick on the no?
Bro, I don't know how Ja can provide any sort of value to a team at this moment in time, bro. He can't shoot. His playmaking is a bit iffy. His injury issues is concerning. Was injured again against the Cavs. Only played first 6 minutes. Do you know what I mean? It's off the court stuff. I mean, it's a bit unfair trying to still put that off the court stuff on him, but we're just gonna keep it on the court. His playmaking, scoring, and just injury issues is concerning. So I don't think I'd be comfortable giving up all of that for Ja Morant. So no, absolutely not.
Fair enough. 2 more trades for you, matey. 2 more. If you were the GM for the Boston Celtics, would you trade Anthony Simons and a 2027 first-round pick for Nicholas Claxton from Brooklyn?
I don't think I don't think I would because Boston right now they need scoring, and Claxton's just not going to give you that. You know what I mean?
It's
With
size as
bigs,
well, though. They ain't got no bigs.
they need size, but bro, I think because am I thinking of this short term or long term? Because obviously, short term, yeah, as you're saying, they might need bigs, but then long term, Tatum is coming back. You're hoping that he obviously don't get an injury like that again. So
I'm not the GM,
how
you know.
much exactly? So how much scoring do you really need in the short to long term when Tatum comes back? But I still want more scoring. Do you know what I mean? And with Claxton as well, if you still got Mazzulla there, this is just me thinking out loud. If you've got Coach Mazzulla over there as well, he still wants to play, that 5 out offense. He still wants to shoot threes. So I don't think Nick Claxton really helps with that, especially with the bigs that the Celtics already have there anyway. So it's a tempting offer, but no, thank you.
Yeah, man. Yes, I've got one more before we move on to the Eastern Conference. If you were the GM for the Los Angeles Clippers, would you trade? Yeah, let's do this. Actually, you're the GM for the Los Angeles Clippers, and this trade package drops on your desk from the Pelicans: DeJounte Murray, Trey Murphy III, and a 2028 first-round pick for Kawhi Leonard.
Nah, man. Nah. It's like what I was just saying. Kawhi's injured. I mean, Kawhi's always injured. So it's like I'm giving up a promising player in Trey Murphy who has the potential to be an absolute superstar in the league. There's no way. There's no way I'm giving it up for Kawhi Leonard in 2025,
What if you're
26.
the Clippers GM?
No chance.
What
Oh,
if you're the Clippers GM, what are you saying?
if the Pelicans are on it,
You
why
want to
not,
do it first?
man?
I'll do it.
Exactly. If you want to do it first, I'll do it. I would. I would. If I'm the Clippers GM and I have the chance to get Trey Murphy the third, especially anyway, yeah, I'm taking that and giving up Kawhi. Yeah, I'm giving up Kawhi for sure.
Interesting. Okay. I'm not sure he'll be too happy about that. I don't think Uncle Dennis will be too happy about it either. But
Absolutely not.
swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Yeah, it's life in the NBA. You know.
Facts.
How about we move on to our good game? By the way, this is a great game.
Yeah, it's always thought provoking.
Oh yes. Why don't we look into the Eastern Conference? Just because a few bits of bobs going on in there. One of them is one of that landed on my desk today. I didn't know this, but the Michael Porter Jr. Over a 7-game stretch is currently averaging 27 points a game. Very interesting, just because there was a lot of hoo-ha that was made around the trade, Cam Johnson going the other way, and people automatically thought, at least in my eyes anyway, people automatically thought, oh yeah, great trade, Michael Porter, he ain't doing nothing, he went really serious anyway. Whereas Cam Johnson, yeah, good role player, been to the finals, experienced, yeah, get MPJ out of there. Well, he seems like he's making the most of a good opportunity for him to, grow as a player, grow his game, and actually, have a chance to be more than just a spot-up shooter. Let's just say it like that. Is it resulting in wins? Stateside? No, it's not. No, I'll be real. It's not. They're about 2-7 they're about 2 wins from the last 7 wins, I should say, or games. But still, Michael Porter Jr. averaging 27 points a game. I guess my question to you is this something, as in, this could potentially be the start of some sort of all-star trajectory? Remember, he was tipped to be the number one pick if he didn't have all those back issues coming out of college, coming out of high school. Or
Yeah.
is this just a little stretch?
As of right now, I think it's just a nice little purple patch that he was eventually going to have anyway. Because going to Brooklyn, like you mentioned, there's no expectation to win. I mean, he was going to lose a lot of games, but then he was going to gain a lot of freedom to really find what his game is like outside of just the Jokic system. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like it kind of almost reminds me a bit of Jordan Poole a bit when he left Golden State and went to Washington, where he then has the opportunity to fail and make a lot of mistakes with little repercussion or responsibility or pressure. Do you know what I mean? So then he with what I see with MPJ, he's going to be in Brooklyn, making all these mistakes, but then in turn trying to find out obviously what is his game. I mean, he's player proven. You know what I mean, he's gone to the finals, won, and played with some of the best players. So there's a player there. Do you know what I mean? I know there's all the jokes about Michael Porter, the possession ends here, Junior. Well, do you know what I mean? But hey, he's still a solid player. Do you know what I mean? He can still mix up his game, playing off the ball and playing on the ball. Can shoot ridiculously well when he's got it going. So I think whatever team that gets him next once he leaves Brooklyn, they'll have a little more of a refined Michael Porter Jr. I think. But as of right now, I expect his scoring to fluctuate, and obviously in this moment in time, the ball's going in for him, so it's expected.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You never know. There's going to be some Brooklyn fans that are going to be saying, not exactly hand the keys of the franchise to Michael Porter Jr., but might be saying, if we get a good team together, we'll make a trade here and there. This is a good piece that we should be keeping and we should be developing because, I'd like to think there's a lot more to Michael Porter Jr.'s game than just being a spot up,
Yeah,
Probably help him in, and that's probably why the Nuggets really, really limited his game. But let's see what he can be in Brooklyn. He deserves a chance. Why not? Let's see what he could do with the rock in your hands,
of course.
Another person that's showing that they can do actually something with the rock in their hands is one of your favorite teams, the Atlanta Hawks, and Jalen Johnson. He's doing his thing without Trae Young over there. Obviously, Trae Young's going to be injured for the foreseeable. He'll be back, so it's not like a season-ending thing, but he'll be back. But Jalen Johnson, I don't know who was against the Jazz or somebody, but he had
it was Utah. It was Utah.
the triple-double that I saw? I
Yeah,
said, what?
yeah.
Hold on a minute. And since then, of course, he's going from strength to strength. Could be in the potential for, he saw what Dyson Daniel was doing last year and thought, it might most improved. I might be want to be in those conversations. I'm sure you've seen Trae Young and be like, that all-star jib is looking kind of nice. I want to see what I can do. Stateside Humph. We've spoken about Trae Young trades in the future, and not in regards to what it will do for the Atlanta Hawks, because I don't think we were thinking about that. However, I want you to think about that situation now, in regards to if there was a world where Trae Young had to go to another team via trade, or was, knock on wood, his injuries are really a thing this year, and that's going to be really limiting him and the team. If the Hawks handed the keys, per se, to Jalen Johnson, would you be upset?
I want to be upset, but I don't think they should make that decision just yet. But you definitely have a talented player in Jalen Johnson. Guys giving you 31, 18, and 14. 31 points, 18 rebounds, 14 assists, 7 steals.
That's some Luca numbers. That's some Wemby
And
numbers.
that's what I'm saying. Utah tax. But still.
Hey man, I ain't putting Utah tax on that.
But still, it's still that's still an NBA team. Do you know what I mean? Utah are actually a good team this year so far. But I'm just saying, if he's just putting up crazy points but no rebounds, no assists or whatever, then you might look at it a certain way. But if he's filling up the stat sheet and then giving you 7 steals on top of it, then
Putting defense on top as well.
that's what I'm saying. So he's showing you his full bag. Do you know what I mean? You can see that there's a talented player there on both sides of the court. You know what I mean? And he's only getting better as well. But then they brought in all these players. Obviously, they're looking at the ascension of Jalen Johnson this year as well. You want to see what the potential will look like with Trae Young on that team, because there's always going to be a chance where Trae Young's out I think for a whole month, and there was a chance that the Hawks were going to play some of the best basketball, and then talks like this was going to arise where, is it better for them to give the keys to Jalen Johnson or should they let go of Trae Young? But it's like you want to see the potential of the team with Trae Young in there, and if it doesn't look like the way that you expect it to look, then I might listen to those talks about Trae Young leaving the Hawks. But as of right now, Trae Young will come back, and if anything, them using his playmaking, his playmaking skills, his point scoring, it'll do nothing but help this team. Do you know what I mean? It'll just make the shot selection for these type of players a lot more easier. And your Jalen Johnsons, Kristaps Porzingis, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, that's a talented team over there.
Good
I mean,
team.
that's a great team over there. So I want to see the full extent of their potential with Trae Young on that team. But a player like Jalen Johnson, the levels that he can reach are scary.
Fourth in the East now. I'm just letting you know, 9-5. So it's not like they're giving the ball to some chucker or that's done it on a losing team. And I know he was
Mm.
injured a lot last year, which is why the seeding really didn't help them. They had a really poor year last year, the Hawks. But this year, with Jalen Johnson being healthy and actually showing that he can do more than just be a second option, hey man,
Mm.
I'm just saying, I wouldn't be upset if they quote unquote gave him the keys and decided to move on from Trae Young, because they can get a pretty penny for Trae Young as well. Now, I'm just
Facts.
saying. Last one in the Eastern Conference as well pertains to, again, one of your favorite players, one of your guys from the past, a former OKC member. PG. He's 8 now these days. He ain't PG 13 no more. But he's
Right.
PG Paul George. At the time of recording, 17th of November, Paul George is expected to make his season debut with the Philadelphia 76ers, ironically, against his old squad, the Los Angeles Clippers.
Oh, really?
Yes, it did. It landed on my desk again today.
So,
Stateside humph when it comes to Paul George and the Clippers, and particularly with PG8, it just doesn't have the same ring as back.
it really doesn't.
It really doesn't. I know what he was thinking. I saw Kobe and this and that. It's P number 13, brother.
Facts.
It's fine. Or you could have even had 20 PG 24 would have been fine. But hey, what do I know?
Sure.
What are your expectations for Paul George, if you have any, for the Philadelphia Sixers going forwards this year?
I have absolutely no expectation from Paul George to do anything. If anything, I expect him to get even more injured. You know what I mean? To be more unavailable. You know what I mean? Obviously, I don't hope any sort of injury on him, but I'm just saying, for since 2019, I am not falling for any sort of Paul George propaganda or anything like that. So ever again, absolutely not, no chance. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's a player at this point in his career, 37 or 36, 37. I don't know if he can. I don't know if he can scale back his game where he's just. It's crazy to say, but almost be a 3-and-D guy. Just defend, shoot threes, and get out of the way of your Maxis, VJ Edgecombs, Embiid to an extent. And even with Embiid, there's still an element of getting out of the way just so the young guards can do their thing, because I think that's where the Sixers naturally will trend. Giving the keys to your Edgecombs and your Maxis. But with Paul George coming in, first of all, can you stay on the court? That's the first and main thing. Stay on the court. Secondly, shoot threes and defend. But when you shoot threes, don't hit the side of the backboard. Can you actually make some threes as well, please? I mean, I'm not asking for much. But with Paul George, at this moment in time, there's no crazy high expectation or any at all, really. Like,
So
to
do you
be
not
to be quite honest with you.
so you don't think that I saw an article again on the Athletic today, and it was talking about why Paul George is a real piece for the Sixers, just in case of, you understand what the injury situation is and you understand what the age situation is. However, in terms of being, a piece for depth, being somebody who has proven in the league that he can carry a scoring load as well, especially with the injuries with Embiid, who some people still see as the Sixers' best player. You need somebody like your Paul George. If he's healthy, especially, he's going to be a very important piece that's supposed to be there as a vet that has been there, done it, that can help the Maxis and the Edgecoms of this world. You don't even think it can be that. You think, let's scale it back. If you could be a role player and support these guys in that way, that's going to be the best case scenario for PG. Maybe for Embiid as well, as you've spoken about in the past.
I think it's just I say this all predicated on how the Sixers are set up and obviously the trajectory of that team. You know what I mean? Maybe on another team, maybe I might say, we might need a little bit more from him. Can you score a little bit more? Can you take a lot more of the offensive responsibility and load? But Maxi's doing that. Maxi's in top five in scoring in the league. Do you know what I mean? He's playing heavy minutes. So if PG can come in, give slight production. I'm saying just stay on the court. I mean, just stay on the court because there's no point in him coming back, giving you a game or two, and then going back out again. What's the point? You might as well just shut him down for the season at that point. So it's got to the point where I'm just like, if PG can stay on the court and can give you decent production, playing being a classic 3-and-D type player, because at this stage of his career, but you're looking at Westbrook. I mean, he went to teams like the Nuggets, dropped his ego, came off the bench, run the second unit. You know what I mean, spaced out for someone that isn't really that's just not good at shooting threes. Let's just say how it is.
Mm.
I mean, spaced out, shot threes, trying to defend as well as he can. That's a former league MVP. So if PG's coming back injury riddled player, the least he can do is stay on the court, defend, shoot threes, simplify his game. But most importantly, stay on the court.
Fair play, because that's what it takes at the end of the day to be an effective team member. Can you stay on the court? Are you available when your name is called? He hasn't been
Facts.
for the last few years, so let's see in regards to
No.
the 76ers if they can be that. Stateside up before you we wrap up today's Stateside Report UK episode. Shall I play one more game?
Let's play one more game. Let's run off a very good shot.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this one new game, so this could be make or break the show. Fair enough. So we'll find out. We'll find out. I trust you though because we've not fallen on a game yet. This
Yeah.
one is called Wham. Will average more is what it stands for, and essentially very easy game. Stateside tough.
Hmm.
I'm going to give you two players, and by the end of the season, you have to put on the magnifying glass, put on the crystal ball, and you have to tell me who will average more. Maybe it's points, maybe it's triple doubles, maybe it's double doubles. I don't know. Stateside
Yep.
Humph. But that's all you got to do. Can you do that for me? Can you do that for the people?
Let's do it.
So, Stateside Humph. So you get the gist of it. I've tailored this for you, per se, this first one specifically. By the end of the season, who will average more points? Tyrese Maxey or Shea Gilgeous-Alexander?
Shea Gildas Alexander.
Why?
Only because Tyrese Maxey's minutes will drop a bit because Embiid is going to start playing a little bit more. As we just said, Paul George is going to come back, going to take some of those minutes as well. So naturally, that offensive production that he's putting up will slowly decrease, and he's averaging like I think like 32 points. Eventually, he's going to regress back to the mean a bit. I mean, if he's going to play close to 82 games, I don't see Tyrese Maxey being at the level where he's averaging 32 points. He has the potential to do it, but this season, especially with Embiid there, if Embiid plays a lot more games, if Paul George comes back and actually stays on the court like we're saying, I don't see. I think that those points are going to be delegated a little bit more to your Embiids and Paul George.
By the end of this season, who will average more points? Jalen Brown or Larry Markkinen?
Jalen Brown, because he's the number one option. I mean, I think he leads the league in mid-range percentage at 50 something percent. So he's scoring the ball very well. He's scoring the ball a lot more efficiently than I thought he would. Not gonna lie to you. I mean, carrying the Celtics on the back, but like at the end of the day, he's the number one scoring option. And if you're on the Celtics and you're being paid a lot of this money, I expect you to put up 30 plus points. Laurie Markkinen, you never know what's going to happen with him. If he's going to stay in Utah, if they're going to shut him down at certain point because Utah want to start tanking again. If he's a lot more that situation with him and Utah is a lot more undecided.
Yeah, it's a bit more volatile. I agree, but I will say that I like to think that Lowry is a little bit more of an explosive scorer. Like he'll give you more in bunches than Jalen Brown will. Like, Jalen Brown will give you a nice little, 25 to 28 points consistently. But Lowry Markkinen is capable of 40, 45, potentially 50 points. I don't know if Jalen Brown, at least on a relative consistent basis, for lack of better words, can do that.
But I mean, that's the key word there, consistently. Because that's why Shea has been there or thereabouts in terms of scoring titles. If you can give me 25 consistently over a course of 82 games, when Jalen Brown is someone that plays a lot of games, he plays 70 plus. Laurie Markkinen, like I said, even at a certain point, because of the team he's playing for and their lack of aspiration, they might get to a point where they might shut him down. So even if he's giving you these big scoring bursts and stuff, you might end up in February, March. You're like, I remember earlier in the season when Markkinen was putting up all those numbers. Where the hell's he now? You know what I mean? So I'll definitely give the edge to Jalen Brown on that one.
By the end of the season, who will have more double doubles? Jalen Duran or Alperen Şengün?
Alfred Şengün. Yeah. Ooh.
Very
And
quickly.
I think I'll put Şengün because first of all, I think he's a better player. Second of all, him and the Rockets, they're the best team by far in rebounding. You know what I mean? And Alperen Şengün, his game, slowly but surely, is getting better offensively. He's stretched his game out to the 3 point line as well. That's just going to add extra points onto his point total. But in terms of his rebounding, him and Adams, they've been cleaning up the glass up and down the country. So, in terms of leading the league in double doubles, I think he would just about edge it. I do like what Jalen Duran and his partnership with Cade Cunningham is looking like.
Durant's putting some 2020 games in there now.
Facts. Now, I think we're almost splitting hairs a little bit, but if I was to put money on it, I'm putting money on Alperen Şengün to lead the league. Well, to have more double doubles than Duran.
Couple more for you, matey. Couple more. By the end of this season, who will average more points? This is a battle of the second options, by the way.
Mm.
Julius Randle or Karl Anthony Towns?
What are they averaging right now?
I will get that information for you. Actually, they're both up there. I do know that for sure.
I trust Randall a lot more though, but then again, Brunson is out right now, so Anthony Towns is having to take a lot more of the scoring
Yeah,
opportunity.
but Anthony Edwards was out for a while as well.
He was out for a couple of games as well. To be fair, Anthony Towns
If you must
summary.
know, Karl Anthony Towns is currently averaging 21 points a game, and Julius Randle's currently averaging 25.
Well, there's that then. Yeah, I mean, there's that then.
But by season's end,
I think it's Julius Randle only because when I look at the third, fourth, fifth options, you've got Mikal Bridges there, you've got Josh Hart there, you've got Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench. There's more points to be delegated. What's his name? Shamgod. I can't believe I just called him that. What's Landry Shamit?
Landry Shamgod. I don't think even Landry Shamet has ever been called
Bro,
Shamgod,
I'm
bro.
telling you, it's these Knicks fans, man. Some of them on my TikTok live, they call him Shamgod.
Come
Hate
on,
to see it.
that's crazy.
He even had, I think, a 30 piece the other night. So there's more points to be delegated out. But then with the Timberwolves, you have Nas Reed. He hasn't really started off the season well. You've got Rudy Gobert, but his hands are like
McDaniels is
concrete.
averaging, I think he's averaging about 17 right now.
Who is?
Jaden McDaniels, I think he's averaging quite a lot.
He is averaging quite a bit, but then you look at Rudy Gobert, bro. No one's even looking at him to pass. Bro, he's got concrete for hands. You know what I mean? So no one's even looking at him to pass him the ball. So there's going to be a lot more scoring responsibilities on Randall, and I think he leads the league in ones as well, which is a little quirky little stat that I came across as well.
Hmm.
So I like his aggressive nature. He is a little bit more controlled. Well, I mean, when he's not playing OKC, but but I do appreciate how aggressive he is when he scores the ball. I mean, and yeah, I'll edge him over Karl Anthony Towns, but yeah,
Hmm. Uh, who will average by season's end? Who will average more points, Michael Porter Jr. or Zach Levine?
I mean, you have Westbrook there that will take some shots. DeRozan as well will need his touches. Sabonis, most of the offense runs through him as well.
Well, when Cam Thomas comes back, there's not going to be a lot of shots for Michael Porter Jr.
There won't, but there's only two of them. It's just both of them. I go, but then Michael Porter Jr. isn't known to be a scorer like that though. I think Levine is a lot more. He knows how to score in different ways. Do you know what I mean? He can find a consistent run to score. I'll say Levine, even though there's still more players on this team that could that have more scoring opportunities. I'll say Levine over MPJ.
Fair enough, matey. Last one, and then we can wrap up. Who by season's end, who will have more triple doubles, LaMelo Ball or Josh Giddey?
Josh Giddey,
Oh,
because Lamelo's gonna miss a lot of games. Every time I turn on a Hornets game, this guy's always in the dripped out stuff. You know what I mean? Chains bigger than his head, and
new
I'm like,
tattoos as
bro,
well.
new tattoos everywhere. It's like, bro, get on the court, man. I mean, if it's not his ankle, it's his this is that. It's like, bro, I want to see Lamelo play basketball. But I feel like every time I turn on Hornets games, we even played him the other night. we played the Hornets the other night, and he was sat on the bench, all dripped out. I'm like, bruv, are we gonna play or not? Like, what's going on? Do you know what I mean? I really want to see the full extent of the Charlotte team with Lamelo in it, but the guy rarely ever plays. So who was the other option?
Oh, you don't even remember. That's how
Josh
badly
Giddey.
you hate
Josh Giddey.
Lamelo. It was Josh Giddey.
Josh Giddey. Yeah, I mean Giddey had a triple. He had a triple double last night as well.
Said a few already.
Even though they lost, I mean, his poor ankle, but bro, Giddey's gonna turn into a walking triple double. You know what I mean?
Is
When
he
we
in that
birthed
ilk?
him in OKC and introduced him out to the world to Chicago and that.
Do you think he's in that
Six
ilk of like, Rajon Rondo, Jason Kidd, like just kind of do everything a little bit, except obviously scoring at an elite level?
a bit. I kind of liken him a bit to Tyrese in terms of how they dictate the pace of the game.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? They take the pace of the game. They get everyone good shots. When you need them to score the ball as well, they can do that. But obviously to a lesser level because Tyrese has proved that in the playoffs. But Josh Giddey, that's the ascension. That's the level I've seen him getting to. He's 6'8". Do you know what I mean? You see all these big guards that we were talking about before the show started. These NBA executives, they love that. They love that, and you have one or two that actually they hit. Most of them don't, but Josh Giddey, he's a natural point guard. Compare him to Cooper Flag, who likes to play a little bit more off the ball and, is more of a scorer. But Josh Giddey, he's a pure point guard. Do you know what I mean? Has an eye for a pass, can dictate the tempo of a game, like I said, leak outs. I feel like the more they refine and build the team into Josh Giddey's sort of like strengths and image, I guess, that'll just elevate his triple doubles and just his stats and just team success as the years goes on in Chicago. So I'll take Josh Giddey over Lamelo.
Fair play. Very nice way to end today's episode as well. I mean,
Not
it was
bad.
you just giving a former OKC player his flowers, but
Hey,
what else are you gonna do
shout
in
out, shout
life?
out Giddey, man. You know what I
Shout out
mean?
to Joshua.
Facts.
They
He just got.
gave him a bit of corn on the CBS. I saw it. Did you see it?
I saw that as well, man. They gotta leave
Oh,
him alone, man. You know what I
dark,
mean? They gotta leave Giddey alone.
dark. Hey man,
I'm just saying, just let the physio tighten up your ankle a little bit better before the game starts, man. You know what I
tie your
mean?
shoes nice and
It
tight.
can't, bruv, it can't be given out on you mid play like that.
The circulation must have left all his leg, bro. I don't know what happened.
Bruv, he
Damn.
felt like he got shot, man. I'd
Happens
say
to
it
the
happens
best.
to the best of us,
Hey,
but
happens to the best. Happens to the best.
I don't know to that extent, though, man. Bro, some people look for push offs or something, bro. Hunter was nowhere near
Yeah,
him,
nah, bro. That one was like just sort out your feet. What the
bro.
hell?
It was a true ankle breaker, man. But I like Giddy's game a lot. I do.
I know you do. So much they traded him away. Thank you for listening to this, to the Stateside Report UK.
It's not
episode
him, it's
51.
us. You know what I mean? It's one of them ones.
Ah,
It's not you, it's me.
it's not you, it's me. Deep it.
Bro.
Please like, share, comment, rate, subscribe, all that jazzy stuff. Me and Stateside Tumph back again next week.
Same time next week we'll be here.
Until then, take it easy, lads.
In a bit.